Going to Apollo's. See if he has anything to say when it comes to new development.
Back. That's good. I was just about to call you.
He means he wants me to call you because Paul here still hasn't figured out how to use a phone.
That's not true. I know how, I just don't like them. They're confusing. Anyhow, I've been contemplating our list of suspects, and
All right.
I think Pan is someone we need to consider.
Wait. You don't like phones?
I just don't like talking to people I can't see.
No, it's the ringtones. They scare the crap out of him. I kid you not.
I'm not frightened. Only a child would be frightened. They're just very loud.
Turn the volume down.
Can we return to the subject of Pan, please?
You might be right about Pan. I thought it could be Medusa, but now I'm not so sure.
Why? Is that why you've taken so long to see me? You've been investigating on your own?
Right.
Yeah.
Explain.
Let's discuss that.
You went to see Medusa and you didn't even tell me?
I'm sorry.
Grace, that could have ended very poorly.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were worried about me.
Well, yes. I mean, you're not invulnerable, Grace. Neither was Calliope.
I do appreciate the sentiment.
If you've cleared Medusa's involvement, that still leaves us with Pan.
Mm-hmm. Well, doesn't...
Aphrodite is holding a party of sorts, one you should attend. She is closest to Pan. Indeed, she knows almost all the idols. If anyone is up to something, she's bound to know.
I still think, due to the fact we don't know anything about Hera, if she's alive or dead, and I mean, the second rung up before Aphrodite is Athena. Athena could still be a suspect, dude. I'm not saying, dude.
You know Aphrodite better than I do.
Aphrodite is
talk to
still
her?
here. Oh, shit.
Well, talking to Aphrodite isn't something anyone does with much success these days.
Well, if that's the case, what makes you think I'll get anywhere?
It'll get
There's a standing invitation for
seduced.
the Muse to attend this party. Calliope never went, so Aphrodite will be thrilled to see you.
I can't
If I thought you
wait
couldn't get
to
her to
see what
talk,
Aphrodite
I wouldn't
looks like.
suggest it.
Aphrodite is supposed to be the most beautiful and seductress of goddesses. Oh, and I went dark. 1 second. I'll fix that. There we go. Can't wait to see what their portrayal of Aphrodite is.
What do you mean by a party of sorts? I mean, I'm always down for a party, but
It's more of a remembrance than a party, really. It's difficult to describe.
that's awfully vague, Apollo.
It'll be
Aphrodite
easier to see for
dead.
yourself.
She's in the
Something you can't handle.
afterlife. She's not
Okay,
in the
I'll go.
ethereal plane.
Eventually.
Perfect. I will see you there.
Paul, you should see this.
What?
The names you wanted me to look up are getting weird results.
I don't doubt it. I was hoping you could...
Get over here!
No worries, Paul. I'll see you later.
Something's wrong. Aphrodite's party. Talk to Freddy. Talk to Apollo. Let's talk to Freddy first before we go to Aphrodite's party.
Hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's
well,
too many
if there's
suspects.
Anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
You really want to be Professines? I fucked up her pronunciation of her name, but yeah. The pretty much the priestess of in which. Okay, so if you don't know who I'm referring to, it's the priestess of Aphrodite, in which Achilles falls in love with. Achilles falls in love with this priestess of Aphrodite, in which is troubled during the Trojan War. She gets put through fucking hell and back. Do you want to be in that position too? Are you sure you want to be first priestess of Aphrodite? In this case, the muse herself, which is now me. Not, Calliope or anything. It's, I don't know if you want to be in that position.
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Of course.
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Oh, perfect.
Where is Kaz
Beanbag.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. They're
But
gay.
right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
Oh, they insinuated so hard over that. I mean, that opening scene with those two band members. Yeah, they swing that fence.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might.
Yeah, it's true.
There's got to be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't
I
they
mean,
all like that, though?
That's Greek mythology.
Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan.
That's true.
Our sun god had a reputation.
Oh, okay. She knows her Greek mythology then. Yeah, Zeus has fucked women with bull penises, swan penises, mouse penises, all kinds of animals. I don't know what is up with Zeus becoming animals and fucking women, but he has done it all. Zeus is a wild character. Zeus is a fucking crazy person.
Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She
No,
was
that-
kidnapped by
that matches
Hades,
up.
end of story?
That matches up.
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry, she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right. That doesn't sound like her at all.
No, no.
That's one thing that happened to you.
That matches
thousands of
up,
years ago.
actually.
I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. Which is true.
No, you are not looking at the big picture. Due to the fact that Hades, technically the realm of Hades, treated her in such a way, it makes sense why her mother created winter and stuff like that. Due to the fact of the desperation, the hatred, the almost the acknowledgement of what is the word? Like you're giving in to the fortitude of, I guess, humanity itself, to where no matter how much you work hard enough as a woman or a male, you're gonna die. and thus winter is born. It is the season of death and decay that no matter what you do is going to be erased by the harshness of the seasons and the time and all that other stuff too. It makes absolute fucking sense. Absolute sense. And thus that's why that tale is born. It is to reason why death exists in the first place. Makes sense. Okay, about Pan.
You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay,
Pan's
Cupid.
a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians
He's a
equated him
little
with the devil. Weirdly, he's
complicated.
also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why.
Never really died.
Now, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Don't do that. What about
Do you
Calliope?
know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9, though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each
3.
of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
That is true.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched.
Calliope, I think, is the muse
Did she
of
also lead the ancient Greeks in
Achilles.
giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of
No, I'm thinking of
princesses
Penelope.
into magpies, so there's that.
No. Okay. Correction. Penelope is the muse, is one of the muses, even though she didn't know that she was a muse. Penelope herself was the muse of Achilles. And I'm trying to remember, I think Calliope might have been an indispensable, in a way, of an indirect muse of Odysseus. So during Odysseus's adventure, I'm trying to recollect because it's been so long since I've read Greek mythology. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since I've read Greek mythology as a whole. So I might be wrong, I might be right. But I think Calliope indirectly swayed Odysseus's adventure when it came to going to home and going to, I don't know if it was the island of the Cyclops or not, but they had to deal with those Cyclops before certain things happened, and he was persuaded to stop at that island, which was a big fucking mistake because I think he lost a good amount of crew members before sailing out back to seas before the Sirens. I might be wrong on that. I don't know. I'm going to have to reread my mythology, but I think Calliope is the indirect acquisition of the Odyssey itself. I might be wrong.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior
She was
goddess.
the eldest.
She was also the goddess of heroes.
She's the matron.
Loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No
Kinda.
female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not.
Xena?
Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is
Yeah, that's
why
true.
portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She
Nope,
turned people into
Aphrodite.
slaves, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her then.
No, you got that completely wrong, but cool. You got that completely wrong, but cool. No, I understand why people think that Athena did all that. But if you read the original translations of the Greek mythology stories, it was Aphrodite, not Athena, that did all that. She kind of fucked everything up, to be honest. She's the reason why Rome was created. Aphrodite herself set in motion of Rome. It is wild to think about that, but it is true. All because her hate for, of course, not just, Medusa, but also Helen of Troy, and to spite the Trojans, to sway them to bring Helen along in the trip back to Troy. It is fucking wild how much Athena fucked with history. It is so crazy. But Athena, not Athena herself, but Aphrodite herself indirectly swayed certain things that Athena did too, because Athena was the queen of the goddesses. Nothing can happen without Athena herself, unless Zeus has anything to say, anything about it. It is wild. This is why, this is the game in which makes me want to reread Greek mythology, because it's been like, I don't know, a minimum 10 plus years since I read Greek mythology. And I hope to God my future granddaughter or, grandson will be able to read that. There's a reason why those stories existed and are cherished for thousands of years, if not longer. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about Greek mythology, is that when it comes down to the bare bones and my appreciation for story, Greek mythology, without a doubt, is the golden tier of storytelling. If you can't beat their stories, your story is lesser than something that was told thousands of years ago. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Enough about that.
Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any
demigods.
The word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
It's probably demigods.
I assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus.
Yeah.
And Hades. Most of the Olympians seem to be gone.
Yes.
Makes you think
That's
about
my
what's going on.
question.
But also, what might still be out there?
Well, we know that Zeus got murdered, apparently. Not Zeus, but Hades got murdered, apparently. Zeus is not mentioned. Hera is not mentioned. Aphrodite, apparently we're going to meet really soon, which is going to answer a lot of fucking questions. Hopefully they predict that really well. Hopefully they write Hera correctly really fucking well. Also, hopefully I have this page up. Who's playing Aphrodite? Oh. Meryl Dandridge. Oh, she's in The Last of Us? Oh. Oh, shit. She's the original voice actress for Marlena in The Last of Us and in the show. Game and show. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, I can't wait to hear her either. I didn't know if she even had a singing voice. Let's find out.
You think there might be other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? And all those other pantheons could be
Norse,
living in secrecy, just like the
Hindu,
idols. And that means
Indian.
they're hidden from each other too.
I mean, Hindu
Everywhere,
and
no one
Indian are
would
the same.
know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Japanese.
Yeah, that's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day.
Oh,
Maybe Lakshmi?
you're going in the God of War route there. Here's the thing. When it comes to God of War mythology, they kind of played around with Greek mythology pretty... They were, at the most part, when it comes to video games, the most on par with Greek mythology compared to... I don't know. They didn't really play around with how man-whorish God, like Zeus was. But in a way, God of War as a franchise traditionally did pretty overall decently with what Greek mythology was, you know, the fates and everything like that. However, they kind of did Theseus pretty badly. They could have treated Theseus a little bit more problematic in a way to Kratos. Kratos to Theseus could have been more of a detriment and more of a threat. Because here's the thing, even though Theseus himself was just mainly a human being that executed things like serial killers and all that, he was overall a hero in which did retribution towards evil, and thus slowly but surely turned into a demigod. Unlike Heracles, was born from as a demigod, Theseus earned that. And that's why I kind of appreciate Theseus' story, that in a way, as a man, as a human, could eventually somehow earn their way to godhood. It's a very weird story, very unlikely story, but still in a very dark way brought humanity and realism to power and the struggle in which Theseus did. That's why I appreciate Theseus' story compared to Heracles and all the other stories. I think I, in a very sinister and a very dark way, kind of relate myself more to Theseus compared to anyone else in the Greek mythology as a man, as a human. Because Heracles was never a god, well, never a god, never a human. He was in the middle. He didn't really equate to anyone. He was his own thing. And even though Heracles' story is one of the most famous stories, he wasn't human or god. He was a demigod. You couldn't relate to him in any fucking way ever. So that's why I think Theseus' story, Jason the Argonauts and all the people that were actually human at first, made more of an impact. So I really hope they kind of at least tip the hat towards those guys.
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but
Oh, shit,
they
yeah.
rarely agree with each other.
The
Really?
books are at
Nothing
least this
definitive?
thick. This fucking
Greece
thick
was
of
3,000 years ago,
mythology.
Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
No, it was. It wasn't in the. Here's the thing. What makes Greek mythology very legible and very valid, it wasn't in the Library of Alexandria when it was burnt down. It was separate. It was due to the fact it wasn't in Egypt at the time. Greek mythology survived. And that's the thing. That's why Greek mythology still exists today. We have the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is one of the oldest stories next to the Egyptian tales, in which lies in, the, what do you call them? What is the word? Oh shit, I forgot the word for how they wrote in Egypt language at the time. But other than the Egyptians, one of the oldest stories on Earth, which always gets, I don't know, over talked by, Greek mythology still tends to compete when it comes to oldest tales of humanity. It's weird. It's very weird. I don't understand why. It's probably because they're Greek. And people don't tend to think that Greeks outlived a lot of those civilizations. But I don't know. I guess that's debatable. But when it comes to stories and something that we can learn by, I don't know, we don't really learn a lot from the Egyptians or the Mayans or the Aztecians. It's really up to like stories like Norse mythology and also Greek mythology and Rome that make more of an impact towards anyone on Earth. It's weird. Even the Japanese and Chinese are impacted by Greek mythology. It is wild how that is the case. So that's why I appreciate that.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Elysium?
I still really hate that name.
Should probably not
We
name
can't
it
be the
that.
source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
No, don't call it Edge of Elysium. Just don't. If you know the story of Elysium, stay away from it. Stay away from Elysium. I'm not even gonna go into my 30-minute rant with that
You
one.
know what I find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline, Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Should we tackle the conspiracy sites?
Okay.
4chan?
Questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Alright, we're done talking to her. Should we talk to Apollo one more time? Let's go. Let's go for it. He might want to talk about more about anything.